You know, sometimes one single moment in a game can tell you everything. It's not just about the score. And that's exactly what we're going to do today. We're going to unpack one goal that was about so much more: pressure, relief, and maybe, just maybe, a little bit of hope. It's been a long time coming. I mean, wow. Those are Alexander Isak's words, and you can just feel the weight behind them, right? This isn't just a player talking about a goal. This is the sound of a pressure cooker finally letting off steam, and it sets the scene perfectly for everything that was about to unfold. All right, so to really get why this one goal was such a big deal, we gotta rewind a bit and look at the bigger picture. This wasn't just any old match. Nope. This was a game happening under a microscope with a ton of heat on the team, and especially on the guy we're talking about. And Isak said it himself. They were going through a tough time. He was totally honest about it. When you're in a hole like that, it stops being about playing fancy, beautiful football. It's just about digging in, being gritty, and fighting for a win. Any win, it doesn't matter how ugly it is. And look, the pressure wasn't just spread across the whole team. Oh no, Isak, he was right in the middle of it all. The media, the fans, he was facing a lot of criticism. Every time he missed a shot, every quiet performance, it just made the noise louder, and that weight on his shoulders even heavier. So you've got this perfect storm, right? A team in its worst slump in decades, and a star player who is just desperate to get back on track. The stage is set. It's either going to be more of the same pain and frustration, or maybe, just maybe, we're about to see a moment of magic that changes the whole story. So how did it go down? It was all so quick, so clinical. You could hear it in the commentary. Wits slips the ball through. He finds Gakpo. Gakpo pulls it back across, and there it is. It was just this beautiful, simple team effort that sliced right through the defense. And that was the moment. The breakthrough, an absolutely massive goal for Alexander Isak. The commentator just nailed it when he said it brought much relief to the champions. You could practically feel a collective sigh of relief from everyone in the stadium. It was huge. Okay, so the celebration on the field, that's one thing. That explosion of joy. But what about the feeling after? You know, the emotional fallout. That's where the real story is. Let's dig into what this moment really truly meant for Isak. So someone asked him flat out after the game, did it feel like a weight off the shoulders? And his answer was just so simple, so real. Yeah, of course. And just like that, he confirmed what we were all thinking. This was way more than just one goal. This was a release, a huge personal moment. And this is where you really see into the mind of a top striker. On one hand, he says the best feeling is the team win, because he knows that's what lifts the spirit of the whole group. But then he's also honest about the other side of it. He says, of course I'm a striker, so scoring goals will always help me. It's that classic balance between the team and the individual drive. Okay, so the personal relief is huge, and getting the win is massive. But one game is just one game, right? The big question was still hanging in the air. What does this actually mean for the rest of the season? And what's so important here is that it wasn't just the Isak show. The win was sealed up with a second goal, and it came from this totally unselfish play that proved this was a real team effort. It was like you could see them starting to build on that new momentum right then and there. And you've got to love this from Isak. Even right after this huge personal moment, his head was already in the future. He said, one win doesn't necessarily mean that we're back. I mean, that's some serious maturity right there. He knew this was just the first step, just the foundation. The real hard work was just beginning. So let's break it down. What did this one win really accomplish? Well, first, it stopped that historically awful run. That's massive. Second, it gave the team a huge morale boost they desperately needed. Third, it was a massive personal breakthrough for a key player. And maybe most importantly, it wasn't the end, it was a new beginning, a foundation to build on. Which brings us to the big final question, doesn't it? We saw how one single moment can just change the feeling, release all that pressure, and bring back a little hope. But can one goal, one single goal, actually turn an entire season around? For this team and for this player,